Hey travelers, welcome back to another video. This video is different from all my other videos because it's a vlog video and I'm not sure exactly how it's gonna go, but I guess we'll find out. So I just got done doing a live stream today. I want to try to make live streams every 6 to 8 weeks on my channel just to connect with you guys, check in, answer any questions that I have the ability to answer. And yeah, in that live stream, I mentioned how I am going to be doing a Kambo ceremony today. So, for those of you that don't know what Kambo is a shamanic practice or ceremony in which you basically have little dots of tree frog poison mixed with your saliva placed on your skin to kind of induce a purging, a release, both on a physical and a metaphysical level. That's my explanation for it. There's going to be a formal video where I interview the person who's doing this Kambo ceremony with me today, who's facilitating that. That person will answer the questions or give a better definition, I guess, of what Kambo is there, but that's my definition. I had the opportunity to do this in 2016, but I didn't then, and I think I'm finally ready to do Kambo, and so it's 2023, and I'm going to be doing it today here at home, and I am really excited. I initially was really scared to do Kambo when I first connected with this person a few weeks back because I know that Kambo is really intense and it makes you purge a lot. And a lot of times people purge through vomiting. And having witnessed someone go through that process in 2016 and seeing how intense it was then, I didn't think that I was ready for it. But after sitting with it, and I guess maybe the energies around this time are really supporting me, I feel really ready to do this for myself and excited. And I don't know what to expect, but I am being very intentional about this and calling on my ancestors and God, my guides, angels to support me in releasing the parts of me, the fears, the emotions, the traumas, etc., that I have deeply buried within my heart, my soul, and that this medicine today can help me to let that go at last and find peace in my spirit and have a deeper connection to the divine. So I'm going to be sharing, I guess, some clips of the ceremony today, just documenting my experience because I like looking back on these videos and remembering who I was and what I was feeling in the moment, what I was going through, and being able to really appreciate where I'm at in the moment that I'm watching it and how far I've come since that video. So thank you for being here. Thank you for holding space for me. You can send me prayers because even if you're going to be watching this after the fact, but it still helps because time is an illusion. So whatever prayers and good energy you can send my way will reach this version of me now that's going through the process and yeah, is having an easier time because of the love and energy and support you send me. So thank you so much. And I guess we'll see. We started the Kambo ceremony by just having me formally sign this kind of waiver, I guess might be the word for it, where basically I'm just saying, if anything should happen, then that's my responsibility and I relieve Nick of any damages or anything like that. And we had already looked through this contract the day before, but I just had to formally sign it so I could have a copy and so he could have a copy. And then Nick decided to do some rapé, which I am not the expert on explaining exactly what rapé is, but to my understanding, it's kind of like this ground plant that you inhale. I don't know if that's the word, but you put it up through your nose. And it's supposed to be very grounding and supportive of you. And this was optional. I didn't have to do it. It wasn't included in the ceremony. But Nick just asked me if I wanted to do it, and I decided to do it. And so I set my intentions for the rapé, and there is Nick applying it to me. And honestly, I did rapé back in 2016 when I originally had the opportunity to do Kambo, but I didn't. And I hated rapé back then because it is literally painful to me, at least. It's like something shoots up your brain like lightning or something, and it just burns, and you can't really breathe right because this stuff is all up in your nose and throat, but you have to hold it in for a while. And yeah, like I got teary-eyed from the pain and stuff. And you could either do it through one nostril or both. I mean, I did it for both of my nostrils, and I actually had, I think Nick said, like a peppermint rapé or something like that. Like I had already become a little bit sick days before because I think subconsciously I was kind of dreading this experience on some level, like resisting it, and so I was making myself sick. And so I had a bit of a cold, so that's why I went with like this peppermint or some kind of mint rape. And that stuff was super grounding. Like I immediately felt a shift in my energy. I can't even explain it, but it's almost as if like my energy was this big scattered ball all around me, and all of a sudden it became more compressed so that it's like closely around my body, if that makes sense. Like I felt like it really brought my energy in. It was really cool because I hadn't felt that the first time I did rape. And so anyway, yeah, we started the ceremony, and Nick just basically walked me through everything he was going to do for the day. He started setting up his altar and just explaining, the different items so that I knew what they all meant, and, so that there weren't any misunderstandings there. I also brought out my plants to be there with me, just to accompany me in this ceremony, because plants have consciousness and my plants are my family. So they were there lending me support, and then we did some intention setting and just really got clear on, what is it that I really wanted to heal or process with the help of Kambo. So we just kind of talked that out for a little bit, and Nick supported me in just kind of narrowing down my intention, and that was basically what we were going to work with for the remainder of the ceremony. Throughout the whole experience, Nick kept making me drink lots of water, because I think you needed to have like 2 liters of water before actually having the kambo put into your body. So, I had to drink way more water than I needed to or I wanted to. And yeah, that's basically it. He had to see me actually drink this water to make sure that I actually had liquids inside of my stomach that were going to support me in purging, possibly through vomiting, when I actually did the kambo. Then Nick asked me if there was anything else that I wanted to do to continue to feel at ease and comfortable, and I wanted to pull out some oracle cards just for additional messages for both me and him. And it was so crazy, but the card that came out for me was like so spot on with the intentions. I can't exactly remember the whole gist of the message, but I just really felt like I was guided to do this to really initiate me in some kind of way. And that's kind of what the card message talked about or touched on, was kind of like an initiation into womanhood and some other stuff. And so I was just like, yeah, like this is confirmation for me that I'm supposed to be here now doing this at last. And I also pulled a card for him, just to give him any additional guidance he needed to know as my healer or facilitator of this process. And then I think we just meditated for a little bit on just everything overall up to that point before continuing on to the next step. From there, it was time to cleanse our energies and the space to continue with the ceremony. It's a really long process, with all these little steps in between, just to ensure that everything is done in the highest possible way with the, purest of intentions. So yeah, basically Nick lit up some Palo Santo and started saging or cleansing his energy, and then my energy and the space. So there he is, cleansing his body. I didn't get a video of him cleansing mine because I had like a glitch with the camera. I thought I had pressed the record button, and then in the end I realized I hadn't, so oops. But yeah, there's basically Nick cleansing himself from head to toe, even to the bottom of his feet or the soles of his feet. So yeah, a lot goes into just making sure that the best possible energies are present during the whole ceremony for the client's highest good, and so that the facilitator can really support in the highest possible way. So we finally at some point started the ceremony by lighting a candle. I set an intention before lighting it. I set so many intentions during this whole ceremony, and once that started, we had a bit of a coaching session. The coaching session is basically where you kind of dig deeper into your intentions for the whole ceremony, and you really just start talking about like where those intentions really are coming from, what's happened to you, what you're going through, what you feel and believe, etc. And that really is meant to help you kind of bring up some of that stuff to the surface of your conscious mind, and to really just kind of prime you or prepare you so that when you actually have the Kambo placed on you, that's kind of like present in your energy, in your field, in your psyche, and that's what the Kambo is able to facilitate. It's kind of like, you know, if you're washing a car or something, you are doing like a pre-wash, I guess, of the car, and I don't even have a car, so I don't know if this is right, but it's kind of like, you know, you're not gonna just throw water on the car and then just be like, yeah, it's clean. Like, no, you're in there kind of scrubbing and getting into certain nooks and crannies to kind of dig up the dirt and whatever and just the grime, and make sure that when you actually pour the water to finally clean it out, all of that grime actually does clean it out and the car is actually properly clean. So that's kind of like the purpose of the coaching session, is to just kind of do that for yourself. So we did that. We talked about my past, and Nick was just kind of asking me questions and all kinds of things to help me dig deeper into things, or to help really understand where I'm coming from with my intentions, etc. So yeah, we did that for a while. I don't know, I think the coaching session is supposed to last like 45 minutes or something. So I don't know if it was like 20 minutes or 45 minutes in the end, because we did the intention setting and we weren't really keeping track of time. So it just kind of flowed and we just did what was needed. And then it was time to light up mapacho, which is like the ceremonial tobacco, and it's for protection to my understanding. And I decided to hold a little frog, I don't know, like statue thing that Nick had, just to kind of set an intention and just express my gratitude to the spirit of Kambo for just supporting me through that process and facilitating my healing and stuff like that. So I'm very intentional, and I believe in the consciousness that every being, everything has, and I just do my best to respect all forms of life and beings that share this planet with us. So anyway, so Nick lit up the mapacho and you know, cleansed his energy and protected his energy, and then he did it with mine, and I actually have some video footage of him doing that with me. Yay, so I didn't mess that up this time. And he was just basically, you know, protecting my heart, my third eye, my crown chakra, all kinds of things, and just making sure that I was okay from front to back. From there, he also used mapacho to, you know, protect his altar items. When he did the Palo Santo cleansing stuff, he also used that for all of his items as well. So yeah, you basically go through like, I don't know, a bunch of cleansing and protection throughout this whole thing before you actually do the Kambo. And so after that, I believe from this image, I had the Kambo stick thing with the venom, and I was just infusing it with my intention, with everything that we had discussed, and I was just really putting my energy into that before actually having the Kambo mix or venom prepared for my actual thing. So yeah, and then once I did that, Nick started disinfecting all of his little tools and items that were going to be used, and my skin with agua florida, which is the special water stuff. I don't know, maybe it's like an alcohol or something that all the shamans use here. So he was just using that to cleanse the things that we would be using to prepare the Kambo stuff. From there, Nick used the ashes that were left over from the Palo Santo and the special stick that he uses for the Kambo ceremony to really be able to just create the dots on my leg in the design of my choosing. So he was just kind of like pre-preparing. It's kind of like when you get a tattoo and they put the little like stencil or something over you before they actually go and like, you know, ink you. So it was kind of like that. And so and once he did that and had the little dots ready to go, he started burning the ceremonial stick to a certain extent so that it would be hot and ready enough to actually place on my leg to peel off the first layer of my skin, because in order to do Kambo, you have to burn the top layer of your skin so that when you actually place the venom can go directly into, I guess, your bloodstream or your lymphatic system. I don't know the difference. There will be an official interview with Nick where he will explain these things. Let me know that you're interested in this interview in the comments below, please. So yeah, basically Nick had to burn my leg 4 times because I was going to get 4 dots. And oh, I forgot to mention this, but we actually meditated on how many dots I was going to get. Nick thought that because it was my first time and because I was a woman, 3 was a lot for me. And when I meditated on it originally, you know, at the beginning of the whole ceremony, when he first initially asked me, I heard 4 as the number. But then as we went on and stuff and I actually meditated on it, I kept hearing 6, and then I wasn't sure if it was like 4 or 6 because, you know, as a psychic, I get messages in different ways, and sometimes I hear what I need to hear. And so I wasn't sure if it was 4 or 6, so I just kind of told Nick, I was like, listen, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm hearing these numbers, so you decide. And he decided that maybe 4 was the best because 6 would probably be too much for me as a first timer and as a woman. But he was wrong. He underestimated me. So we agreed on 4, and he started really mixing in the Kambo with my saliva. I didn't show you guys a picture of that or a video of that because, I don't know, I think I lost it somewhere as I was editing this video. But yeah, he basically had me spit in this little ceremonial thingy, bowl thingy or whatever, and then he mixed the Kambo venom with my saliva and started preparing the dots, the 4 dots that would be placed on those 4 little burns on my leg. And then it came time for him to actually apply the dots to my leg, but because he felt he had taken too long to actually make the mix, he had to literally like touch my burns and open them back up, and that hurt more than the actual burn. I was like, no. Here he's taking my pulse just to see what my baseline pulse is without the Kambo, so he can monitor that throughout the whole ceremony. And yeah, basically he set his stopwatch to 20 minutes as well, because most people can only handle having Kambo on them for about 20 minutes. And there he is, basically ready to start applying the Kambo dots on my leg. And he's just kind of reminding me to relax, to breathe, to know he's going to be there supporting me. And yeah, basically just trying to put me at ease. So there the dots go one by one on my leg, and I was really cold right before he started applying these dots. Like, I was freezing. It's kind of like a cold sweat kind of thing. Like, I feel my subconscious was just really scared of this because I didn't mention this, but like, I have been traumatized about like throwing up. And I refused to throw up because once when I was 9 years old, I got sick really, really bad. And I just remember throwing up all night to the point where I had nothing left to throw up. And ever since then, like, I just vowed I would never throw up again. And over the years, no matter, you know, how much I drank back in the days when I used to drink alcohol, or how sick I might have gotten from some kind of food or whatever, I would not throw up. And so I think I was low-key just really, really afraid subconsciously of just having the venom just have such an effect on me that I would throw up, that I was just, my body temperature just dropped dramatically. I was just so freaking cold. But I didn't want to put my sweater on because I knew that within a few minutes Kambo was going to take an effect and it was going to heat my body up. So yeah, so there I am, just breathing and letting Nick just guide me and make sure that I'm okay. He just keeps reminding me to breathe and to take it easy and to know that all is well. And I'm just closing my eyes. The Kambo didn't really hit me till about maybe like almost 3 minutes in. And how it initially felt for me was I kind of felt like something was slowly crawling up my leg. The best way that I can describe this is for anyone who has seen the Mummy movie, where the scarab beetles kind of go up and under people's skin and then they like crawl up and all over people's skin. It's kind of like that. I felt a tingling sensation start from my ankle where the Kambo medicine had been applied, and that tingling sensation just started going up my leg, and by the time it kind of went up to my thigh, I felt my thigh was really hot. And Nick is just checking my pulse and just seeing how I'm doing. And yeah, once it kind of hit my upper thigh, that's when it started kind of going up my body. And I'm a very in tune person with my body. I'm just very self-aware and in tune with myself in general. And I felt this energy, the spirit of Kambo, just go up my body and immediately like go up to my head, where I felt, I don't know, this weird energy around my head, kind of like the feeling that you get when you're kind of lightheaded because you stood up too fast and you kind of have everything spinning and you're dizzy and stuff like that. Like that's kind of what happened. And I remember opening my eyes and everything was just kind of like black. Like I was just kind of dizzy for a minute, and I was like, oh, I gotta close my eyes because this is not good for me. Like I'm gonna get nauseated if I keep my eyes open. So I just kept my eyes closed and I just kept breathing, just listening to Nick as he's guiding me. He's just reminding me to continue to breathe. And I started yawning like crazy, because yawning is how I generally tend to release energy. For those of you that don't know, I'm a spiritual person, I'm psychic and intuitive, I do healing work, energy work, and so a lot of times when I do my own healing for myself, I will yawn like crazy to release old energy. Everyone purges or releases energy differently, but for me it expresses itself through a lot of yawning. And so Nick is just there using his ceremonial maracas to just help support me in releasing whatever energies. He's like singing, certain things or chanting or whatever to support me in releasing energy. And I'm just yawning my little heart out the whole time, letting go of old stuff through yawning. And the weirdest thing about this whole experience, oh well, first of all, let me keep telling you about Kambo. So yeah, I went up to my head and then it went back down in my body, and when it got to like my heart, like I kind of felt a little bit nauseated, but I didn't throw up. And then I felt it go down to my sacral, and then it was there for a minute. My sacral was really, really hot, and then it went back up again past my heart or somewhere around my heart, and I felt nauseated again a little bit, but not too much. And then it went down into my sacral again, and I can't remember exactly like the whole thing anymore. It's a little bit blurry at this point. It's been a couple of weeks, 20 days or so when I'm recording this post ceremony. But it went down to my sacral 3 times, and I'm sure I had to release a lot of things in that area, unconscious trauma or things stored in my sacral area, because it just kept going down to my sacral. It went down there 3 times. And the only times I felt nauseated were when it was going past my heart. So there I am, just, breathing, meditating and stuff. And so the thing that I wanted to say earlier was like the weirdest thing about all of this was there's Nick worried about me because my head went down. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. He mentioned this to me, but I didn't get to see it till now. I don't remember my head plopping down like that. But yeah, basically the craziest thing was that like I was just focusing on breathing, and at some point I entered like this meditative state. I was in such a meditative state. I can't even begin to tell you, but I was chill, and I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, is this it? Is this how it is? Like, I thought it was going to be more intense than what I'm actually experiencing, but this isn't actually that bad. Like, I don't feel sick to my stomach. I don't feel ready to faint or to throw up or any of this stuff. Like, I just entered a meditative state, and I was so chill, and I was like, how long have I been here? I wonder when this is going to be over. Has it been 20 minutes yet? Like, I was just thinking these things, and I was like trying to remind myself to be present and to not try to rush through things, because I'm kind of an impatient person sometimes. And so there's Nick getting me to drink some more water because he's kind of concerned at this point that I'm not throwing up. And I'm just like, oh, I'm sick of water. I'll drink some water, but I'm sick of water because you made me drink so much water already. So he's asking me to drink water just to see if that like triggers, I guess, vomiting in me, like if it helps me to kind of like purge in this way, but it didn't. And I just kept yawning and just being in my meditative state and just breathing through the whole thing. I just kept breathing through all of it, letting it be okay. So then Nick is trying to kind of see if he can trigger any vomiting in me by lighting up the ceremonial tobacco to see if the smell will help me to release as well in this way, to purge in this way. And we had discussed this a lot before the ceremony because I really hate smoking. It's just always been something that I have never vibed with in all of my life. And but you know, I told him I really didn't like the thought of him blowing the ceremonial tobacco in my face, but if it's needed in order to help me purge, then fine, I will allow this and I will breathe it in. So I did. But still, I didn't throw up. I didn't feel the need to throw up. So basically, Nick was doing everything in his power to try to get me to purge in the ways that most people commonly purge. But I was an exception, and I was just not purging in that way because I just didn't feel called to. I was just breathing through the whole thing and just letting it be what it needed to be, you know? My way of purging was through yawning, and it was through the cold chills that I would feel through my body. Because my body got kind of like hot and cold during certain periods, or certain parts of my body would get more hot than others because that's where the Kambo was moving to in my body. And so wherever the Kambo moved to, that's where there would be like all this intense heat. So yeah, that's how the medicine was working through my body. Everyone is different. And I was really shocked that I didn't throw up because, like I said, back in 2016, when I had the opportunity to do Kambo, I went with Jimmy. Shout out to Jimmy. Are you watching this? Let me know in the comments. Jimmy is one of my followers, and I met him through this YouTube channel. He came to Peru and traveled around Peru, and I got to kind of join him a little bit on that trip and do these kinds of things with him. And anyway, I didn't do Kambo then, as I said, but when I saw Jimmy do Kambo, he was throwing up violently. I was shocked because, again, I made a vow to myself I would not throw up ever again, and seeing him basically puke like what's her face from the Exorcist movie, I was just like, oh no. I don't think I could ever do this. So yeah, you know, I was just breathing through the whole thing, meditating, and at some point the 20 minutes were up, and Nick asked me if I wanted to remove it, and I basically said no, I wanted to keep it on for a while longer because, you know, I was also kind of waiting to throw up as well. I was like, where is, you know, the nausea, like I want to throw up and I am not throwing up, so let me just leave this on for a little bit longer to see if that helps me to throw up. And I ended up keeping the Kambo on for another 11 minutes is what Nick said. So in total, I had it on for about 31 minutes. And at that point, I just felt like Kambo had done everything it could with me, because I felt like the symptoms were kind of lessening, like they were starting to go away. So I was like, okay, you know, I have gone as far as I could with Kambo on this occasion, and, you know, this is enough, and I can now have this removed. So that's when I asked Nick to finally remove the Kambo from my leg, because I just felt like there was nothing else left to be done with the medicine, you know, and it was enough. So yeah, you know, because I was just really calm towards the end. I was just breathing through it. I feel like one of the reasons why I didn't have more serious symptoms of purging is because I was really intentional about this. I didn't take it lightly. I didn't do it just because, oh, it's, you know, some shamanic thing that would be cool to try. It was really about, you know, just coming at this from an intentional place and out of respect for the medicine. So the week prior to the actual ceremony, I really did my best to keep a super clean diet. I mean, I eat cleanly for the most part anyway, but I basically did my best to just make sure I cut out anything that wasn't allowed, just to respect the medicine, and also because I knew that that was also going to affect how I would purge on some level as well. But it was mostly out of respect for the medicine. And also, I've basically been meat free since 2015, and I use organic natural products as often as possible to wash myself, on my skin, you know, for my personal hygiene, etc. And so I think just the fact that I have a healthy and clean lifestyle, as well as a pretty clean diet, and you don't have to be meat free to have a clean diet, but you have to eat like high quality meats and not overdo it and not do processed foods, etc. And also because I've been doing really deep personal healing work since 2016, 2017, you know, all of that made it so that I was really clean, a clean vessel on a physical level as well as like on a spiritual, emotional level. And so that's why I think I didn't have these kinds of intense experiences that other people probably do, you know. And Nick was impressed with me. He just kept telling me towards the end, like, you sit well with the medicine, you sit well with the medicine. I was laughing because I was like, I know you impressed. You keep telling me this. Clearly I have impressed you, because he really thought I could only handle 3, and I did so well with 4, and I probably should have had 6, but it's fine. You know, it is what it needed to be. And maybe if I had had 6 dots, I probably would have thrown up. Who knows? Everyone has to try out, you know, different things and see how far their bodies can go. But yeah, I basically took it like a champ. Anyway, Nick finally removed the Kambo when I requested it, and he basically disinfected it with like agua florida, and then he started adding sangre de grado, which is like this quote unquote blood that comes from this tree or whatever, and it is kind of like a sap, I guess, that comes from this kind of special tree, and it's used to, I don't know, like help heal wounds and stuff like that. So he's just applying that to the dots just to, you know, protect the little open wound and just help it so that it heals quickly and in the best possible way. So yeah, there he is applying it, and we're just kind of talking about my experience and everything that went down and stuff like that. And that was basically the whole ceremony. Once that was done, it came time to close the ceremony, so I had to just, you know, do a little expression of gratitude and then blow out the candle. And I just, you know, decided to kind of meditate for a couple of minutes to just kind of close that out for myself, thank my spirit guides, thank angels, God, you know, my ancestors, every being that was present during this whole experience. Whether I was able to see them or not, or feel them or not, I know that I had so much support that day, which is also maybe part of the reason why I had an easier time, and it wasn't as intense as it could have been maybe, or that it normally is for people. And something else that I kind of reflected on as I was kind of discussing with Nick post ceremony is that, you know, I kind of came into this ceremony really afraid initially. When I first connected with Nick about this, I came into it really afraid of having the medicine kind of force me to release things that I was unconsciously holding on to. And I was kind of afraid of that at first, but I realized as I was going through the whole process, the experience, and as I was breathing through it and realizing this is not as bad as I thought, what I really got out of that was that when I really surrender to the experience, when I really just do my best to just breathe through it and allow whatever needs to happen, and I just trust that whatever happens is for my highest good, and, you know, God is taking care of me, etc., it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be, you know? I think as humans, we all on some level, through our life experiences and conditioning, etc., we're all kind of afraid to let go of control. We're afraid to really fully surrender ourselves to a higher power and to let that higher power guide us in life. And that's been like a huge lesson for me in this life, is to just trust in God and know that it's all going to be okay and I don't have to freak out. And putting myself through this ceremony was for me a real act of faith, and knowing like, God, you know I'm afraid of throwing up, you know I'm afraid of what could happen here, but I'm going to trust you, I'm going to do this, and whatever's meant to happen is going to happen. And when I really surrendered to God, it worked out better than I could have expected. You know, it was actually smooth, you know, it was a mostly kind of effortless experience. And that's what I really got out of this, you know, and I just wanted to share with all of you. So anyway, after the ceremony, we had some fruits and just chatted about it and some other stuff. And that was basically it, you know, that was the whole process. So yeah, I really hope that you got something out of this. I don't know, maybe you got inspired to do Kambo for yourself. It's not for everyone. You'll do this when you're meant to do it. Again, I was given the opportunity to do this in 2016, and only in 2023 did I finally feel ready and things really aligned for me to be able to do this. I wasn't looking for this, it just kind of landed on my lap, and I initially was afraid, but then a couple weeks later, something shifted in me and the energy, I don't know, but I was like, okay, no, this is something I have to do and I'm ready for it. And I actually was excited at the start of this ceremony, you know, like all that fear that I had previously felt 2 weeks prior had gone away, and I was excited. And you know, even though maybe my subconscious was low-key afraid still as I got closer to the actual ceremony, but I went through it and it was better than I expected. So yeah, you know, I really hope that you enjoyed this. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this little vlog experience, please give this video a thumbs up, as that always helps my channel. Drop me a comment down below with any questions or insights that you want to share with me, or maybe you want to share your own Kambo experience with me and where you did it. And yeah, stay tuned for future videos. I also was given the opportunity to do San Pedro with Nick, so there's going to be a video on that. I'm also going to be interviewing him, so definitely subscribe to be notified when those videos are up and ready. And yeah, that's basically it. I really hope that you got loads out of this. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!